Warnings for inappropriate behavior between siblings and improper bathroom habits. I am a 16-year-old with an 8-year-old sister, I'll call her Poppy for the purpose of this post, who routinely smears her excrement all over our bathrooms. I have tried talking to her about it like a million times and nothing ever gets through. I am always the one who has to clean it. I do most of the cleaning in our house, and I am tired of having to do so. I hate germs, and it feels like torture having to clean it all the time. She puts it everywhere: the toilet, sink, shower, floor, windows. She says she does it because it's fun. When I clean it, she likes to watch me and says it's because she likes to watch her slave clean up. You might be thinking that she just hasn't been potty trained properly, but she has been. I potty trained her, as well as my other younger sister who previously did the same thing as Poppy after being encouraged by her but stopped after I explained to her why she shouldn't, although it did take a few tries. I have told them both that it's incredibly unhygienic, disgusting, and can make us sick. It's also not very pleasant to clean up. I have said, it's not fair that I have to do this when I don't make the mess, and Poppy has replied, well, life's not fair. To which I replied, that may be true, but it doesn't mean you can't treat people, especially your family, fairly, which she just ignored. Poppy refuses to stop and just doesn't listen. I have tried getting her parents, I say her parents because we have the same mother but different father, to help make her stop, but they just think it's funny. I love Poppy so much and I take care of her a lot, but I'm at the end of my tether. She also likes to make comments about my breasts and squeezes them a lot, even though I tell her to stop, explaining why she shouldn't. She has done this for years. She used to do the same thing to our mom, who just laughed, but she doesn't do it to her anymore. She wasn't even breastfed, she was fed formula, so it just doesn't make any sense. I know part of why she does it is probably because I react by being upset and trying to explain why she shouldn't, which is probably fun for her, like a game. I feel violated when she touches me inappropriately, which I know sounds dumb considering we have such a big age difference and I'm older, so I should just let it go, which I did when she first began to do it, but I just want her to stop. Personal space is very important to me, and although I know she can't properly grasp these things due to her age, it's still annoying, especially when I explain it to her. If you're wondering what I say, it's usually something along the lines of, you're not allowed to touch people there, sweetheart. It's a private area and no one should touch it. If anyone does, you should tell me or your mom and dad. It makes me uncomfortable and sad when you do that, and I'd like you to stop. Anyways, today I cleaned the bathroom and it was gross again, and she kept talking about how fun it was to make the mess, and I called her a disgusting deviant because of both of the things she does. I know I shouldn't say that to an 8, almost 9-year-old, but I'm just frustrated. My mom and her dad are now saying that I'm an evil, horrible sister, and I should never speak to her like that, which I do agree with. I shouldn't, and I didn't mean to, but it just came out because I was frustrated. I realize this probably sounds very fake because of how ridiculous it is, but it's sadly not, and I'd appreciate any advice. I think that Poppy would benefit greatly from therapy, considering other behavioral issues she has, but her parents think that's ridiculous and stupid. Am I being overdramatic? I don't think I am, but I feel like I probably am if both of them disagree. Now for an update, I've gotten a lot of very helpful replies, and I'm very grateful to all of you. I'm sorry I didn't reply to everyone. It just became overwhelming, and I had a lot to think about. I emailed my school counselor, and I was going to wait until she replied to go any further, but I've since received a lot more replies saying I should contact Child Protective Services, and so I figure that's the best thing to do, which is what I'm going to do after posting this. Thank you all again. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. This is not your problem. This is a serious behavioral issue that your parents should deal with. Do not clean her poop ever again. Instead, warn her and your parents that you will no longer be cleaning, and let them deal with it. Also, your sister needs to learn the consequences of assaulting you. Next time she does it, do not engage her. Tell her she has violated your boundaries and that you no longer feel comfortable around her, and tell her you expect a serious apology. Then ignore her for as long as it takes, days or weeks if necessary. Do not talk to her, do not help her, do not do anything until she learns she cannot get away with treating people like that. You need to go nuclear, or this problem won't get resolved. If your parents take her side, speak to a counselor or call Child Protective Services. It is not your job to be raising her or take this abuse. Comment 2. I feel like you and your sister's parents are cutting her a lot of slack for being young. This kind of behavior is like a 3-4-year-old child's, and even that is problematic. Your sister is 8-9. This is in no way normal and shouldn't be excused by any means. Please step up for yourself. Tell the parents if they find it so cute, they can clean it all up. And she likes watching you clean it? That's sadistic. She needs immediate help before it becomes a part of who she is and worsens as she grows up. Now for the update. 2 days after reaching out to Child Protective Services, I got a call from a CPS agent named Sarah. Right away, she started asking me a ton of questions about Poppy's behavior and our family dynamics. I explained the bathroom incidents and all the inappropriate comments Poppy makes. The poor kid has no idea what she's doing is wrong, but it's still not okay. Sarah said she would need to visit our home to check things out. This made me nervous, but I knew something needed to change. The next day, Sarah came over while I was home alone with Poppy. She walked in and Poppy, being the little brat she is, started laughing and smeared toothpaste all over the bathroom wall. Like, what even? I tried to get Poppy to stop, but she just giggled and kept going. Then, right on cue, Sarah walked into the bathroom and saw the chaos. She asked Poppy why she did that, and of course, Poppy just shrugged and said it was fun. It was like a scene from a messed up movie, and I was just waiting for the credits to roll. After that, Sarah took me aside to talk privately. She started asking more questions and taking notes on everything. I told her about how our mom and Poppy's dad laugh off all the crap Poppy does and how they never discipline her. It's like they think she's just being quirky or something. Sarah promised to follow up after discussing everything with her supervisor. Later that evening, I overheard my mom on the phone with Poppy's dad talking about the CPS visit. They both sounded super worried and were saying something about wanting to handle the situation without outside help. Oh, great. Just what I needed. A couple of clueless adults trying to cover up their lack of parenting. A few days later, I got a text from Sarah confirming a follow-up meeting. She said we would need to have a family meeting with my mom and Poppy's dad. This was going to be awkward. During the meeting, Sarah laid out all the concerns that had been raised. My mom got all defensive, insisting that Poppy was just a quirky kid. I mean, she is quirky, but not in a cute way. Poppy's dad tried to downplay the behavior too, saying kids go through phases. Yeah, well, this phase is like a never-ending nightmare. Sarah stood her ground, saying they needed to take these concerns seriously. After the meeting, I noticed Poppy acting out even more than usual. It's like she was trying to draw attention to herself or something. We went to a family birthday party for a distant relative, and it was the most awkward atmosphere ever. Poppy decided to smear frosting all over her face while laughing like a maniac. This drew attention from everyone, and I could feel myself dying inside. During the party, Sarah unexpectedly showed up to observe our family dynamics. I thought I was going to have a heart attack right then and there. Everyone was trying to act normal, but the tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Poppy kept misbehaving, and then my mom actually scolded her. I was shocked because she never does that. But then Poppy started crying and claimed I was the one being mean. My mom turned on me, accusing me of being a bad influence. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Sarah had to step in and say that this behavior was concerning and needed to be addressed. After the party, my mom sat me down for a serious talk. She told me that she was considering sending Poppy to live with her dad temporarily. I felt a mix of relief and sadness. This situation has been hell for both of us, and maybe some distance would do Poppy some good. Poppy's dad called to discuss custody arrangements, which led to a family meeting with lawyers. I couldn't believe how far things had gone, but at least there was a chance for a fresh start. Edit. I appreciate everyone's support and advice. After the meeting, my mom decided to have Poppy stay with her dad during the weekdays. This has given us both some much-needed space. Poppy's dad is now more aware of her behavior and has agreed to seek therapy for her. I'm hopeful for positive changes. Am I the idiot for refusing to let my daughter's abuser back into our lives despite family pressure? Am I the idiot for refusing to let my daughter's abuser back into our lives despite family pressure? Am I the idiot for refusing to let my daughter's abuser attend family events? My daughter is 17 years old. We will call her Tasha. She has a neurological disability which causes her to have developmental delays. She will never get better. She has always been a solid 3 years behind her peers in intellect and maturity. I am divorced from her father, and my current husband has raised Tasha since she was 4. We have provided her a very stable home life. She has a cousin, my nephew. Let's call him Eli. Background on Eli. He is a high-functioning autistic and extremely smart. Unfortunately, my sister, his mother, we will call her Rachel, abused him via neglect and exposure to horrible things. Eli has been through multiple father figures who have come and gone. Both kids are the exact same age, born a day apart, LOL. When the two cousins were 11 years old, they got off the school bus together at my mother's house. Grandma, my husband, and I were at work. Grandma is a bit of a night owl and was asleep when the two kids got home. The two kids were unsupervised for a period of time. During that time, Eli coerced Tasha to do an intimacy act. Tasha maintains that she expressed she didn't want to and said no. But Eli would not take no for an answer. He forced her to do this intimacy act, which was non-penetrative. I guess that doesn't really matter. A forced intimacy attack is an intimacy attack no matter what the details. Grandma woke up and came out to check on the kids, found Eli and Tasha naked and doing this act. Grandma separated them and got Tasha dressed. Poor Tasha said to Grandma, "I never want to do something like that again until I am married." I don't blame Grandma. It could have happened under anybody's watch. I blame Eli. I blame his mother Rachel for neglecting him and harassing him. Clearly, Eli was exposed to something that caused him to be so interested in intimacy at a young age. Grandma came to my house with Tasha after I got home from work and broke the news to me. I know this was extremely difficult for her. I stayed calm even though everything inside me was on fire. I have had vengeful thoughts every day since then, but just have never acted on them. This has torn my family apart. Tasha is gay. She also believes she is transgender. I feel like this trauma has caused a lot of damage psychologically. She never wants to feel weak or like a victim ever again. Yes, she is in weekly queer-friendly therapy and has been since this incident. Yes, I spoke to the police about filing a report. Unfortunately, due to my work, I understand that we may never get justice in this situation. I decided not to further re-traumatize my daughter by having her go through a police interview. So, am I the jerk because I will not allow Eli in our lives? We won't go to family functions where he is attending. Tasha has seen him since this incident, but never unsupervised. We have long discussions about safety if we know he might show up at a function we attend. My family is very much wanting me to forgive and forget a mistake Eli made when he was 11. I will never forgive. I will never forget. I will also never forgive myself for failing to protect my daughter. I do hope Eli is well and does well in life. I just can't have him in our lives. Am I the jerk? Now for an update. I would like to make it clear that I accept Tasha no matter what Tasha identifies as. Tasha is still early in Tasha's journey, and Tasha's pronouns are fluid. When Tasha fully identifies and is ready, I'll back Tasha up. I don't know if the attack has directly impacted Tasha's identity. I can't say for sure. I really hope not. Thank you for the commenters who have kindly and respectfully educated me in this area. This is a work in progress for Tasha and I. We will get there. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Good on you for doing what is right for your child and disregard everyone telling you to forgive and forget. It is a major crime that has lifelong consequences for the victim. Why should the victimizer get an easier go of it? Comment 2. Not the idiot. It's your responsibility to protect your daughter, especially considering her vulnerability due to her disability. You're not obligated to forgive Eli, especially not under pressure from your family. Now, for the update. It's been a little over a month since the incident with Tasha and Eli. Tasha's been focusing on her therapy sessions at the local queer center, where she's been able to talk openly and freely about her feelings. It's been really emotional for both of us, but I just want her to be happy and healthy. I've been supportive, driving Tasha to her sessions every week. It's our little tradition now, just the two of us, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Lately, she started expressing more about her identity during therapy, like wanting to change her name. This was a big deal for her, and honestly, it just felt right to me. So we decided to have a small celebration at home for her new name, just the two of us. We invited Grandma, who has been trying to mend the family rift, but it was a tough call. Grandma's been a big part of Tasha's life, and even though things are strained, we thought it was worth a shot. The day of the celebration, Grandma showed up with a cake and balloons. Tasha was excited, eagerly showing off her new name on the cake. You could tell how much it meant to her. It was like a weight lifted off her shoulders, and it made me happy to see her like that. Just before the celebration started, I got a message from Rachel, Eli's mother. I wasn't in the mood to deal with her, but it was Tasha's day, so I tried to keep it together. Rachel asked if we could talk, saying Eli wanted to apologize to Tasha. I just ignored the message and focused on Tasha. During the celebration, Grandma mentioned wanting to include Eli in future family events. Tasha heard this and abruptly left the room, visibly upset. I could see the excitement drain from her face, and I knew I had to follow her. I found her in the bathroom crying. She expressed frustration about Grandma wanting to include Eli without considering her feelings. My heart broke for her. I reassured Tasha that we wouldn't force anything, that this was her journey and her comfort came first. After the celebration, Grandma confronted me about Tasha's reaction. She just didn't get it. Grandma insisted that Eli wasn't a bad person and deserved a chance. I just walked away at that point because there's only so much I can take. Later that week, I learned that Eli had been suspended from school for behavioral issues. Rachel reached out again, wanting to discuss Eli's struggles and how he misses Tasha. Missing Tasha? Yeah, right. Tasha overheard the conversation and expressed anger towards Rachel's attempts to reach out. I didn't blame her. Rachel had some nerve trying to have a heart-to-heart when her son was the one who put Tasha in this position. I set boundaries, saying we wouldn't engage with Rachel until Tasha was ready. It's not going to happen. A few days later, I got an unexpected call from the school principal. She told me about a serious incident involving Eli and other students. Apparently, Eli made inappropriate comments and could face expulsion. Tasha was informed about Eli's situation and became even more upset. I could see she was conflicted. It's like she thought she was supposed to care, but how could she? We talked about safety and boundaries regarding Eli. I just wanted her to know that she could tell me anything, and we'd figure it out together. As things settled, Grandma invited us to a family Christmas dinner. I hesitated, knowing Eli would likely be there. But I also knew that Tasha wanted to give Grandma a chance. She was still holding on to the hope that things could go back to how they used to be. On Christmas Day, tensions were high as the family discussed the incident involving Eli. It was all anyone could talk about. Grandma kept saying that Eli was a good kid who made a mistake, and I just wanted to scream. During dinner, Eli unexpectedly showed up despite my reservations. Tasha immediately withdrew from the conversation, choosing to stay in her room. I couldn't let it slide. I confronted Grandma about Eli's presence, saying it was inappropriate. A heated argument started between us about family loyalty. I just couldn't believe that despite everything, she was still trying to play the family card. The dinner ended in chaos, with family members arguing and Tasha still avoiding the table. She was in her room, and I could hear her crying. I just wanted to protect her from all of this. I wanted to shield her from the pain and the disappointment. But the truth is, I don't know how to do that when it's coming from family. I don't know how to fix this. To answer a few questions, Tasha's new name was chosen by her during therapy, and we both felt it was a significant step in her identity journey. Grandma's relationship with Tasha has been strained, but remains important to both of them, which is why we invited her to the celebration. Despite the family tensions, Tasha expressed a desire to maintain some connection with Grandma. The principal's call about Eli highlighted ongoing issues at school, making Tasha feel frustrated and conflicted. Our boundaries with Rachel are firm, focusing on Tasha's comfort. Christmas dinner was challenging, but Tasha's well-being remains my priority. Am I the idiot for blocking my husband's cousin's wife after she berated me over my celiac disease? Am I the idiot for blocking my husband's cousin's wife after she berated me for having celiac disease? Am I the idiot for standing up to my husband's family after they tried to police my dietary restrictions? My husband and I, 29-year-old female / 32-year-old male, moved to the South several years ago to be closer to his family. We live in the city, about 90 minutes away from his rural hometown now. His family is very traditional and still has a Sunday dinner with the whole family most weeks. We can't make it weekly, but we try to attend at least monthly. I have celiac disease, so dinner is a bit difficult. I love his family, and they've tried for me, but I just have to bring my own food. Cross-contamination has shown to be a major problem. I've also learned I have to be firm about it. I cannot eat that. It will make me extremely sick, or else I'm admittedly gently pressured to just try some. But over the years, they've gotten much better about accepting me declining to eat. They still offer frequently, though. My husband's cousin and his wife had a little girl about 5 years ago. His wife says she was raised in a house with a lot of really toxic ideas about food, and she struggled with disordered eating for a long time and wants to raise her daughter without that, which I understand and respect. But as her daughter is starting to grow up, she's gotten very sensitive to the word can't when it comes to food, because she believes it promotes the idea of good versus bad foods. When we do attend dinner, she really hates that I will say, "No thank you, I can't eat that," in front of her child, rather than, "No thank you, I'm not hungry," or something similar to that. She would turn to her child and say, "OP means she doesn't want any right now. There's no kind of food we can't eat," which I found a little obnoxious, but whatever. She was talking to her kid and not me. But after the latest dinner, she sent me a text about how disappointed she was that I couldn't accommodate her request to use more positive language around her daughter. I explained that the best way to have the family respect my needs was to be firm about it, and that I understood her concerns. But she's going to be starting school in a few weeks, where some other children will likely have allergies. So it's probably time to inject some nuance into her approach. 5 is young, but not too young to understand that sometimes normal foods will make certain people feel sick. So they decided with their doctor that it would be a good choice to not eat that food again. This doesn't mean that food is bad, just that bodies are all different, or something. I don't have children, that's probably not perfect phrasing, but she's a capable kid. Now for an update. The text I received back was longer and angrier than I expected, calling me a witch for telling her how to raise her kid, and talking about things I know nothing about. She sent several more berating messages and called me a selfish twat before I just blocked her. According to my husband, her, his cousin, and his aunt have been vaguely posting on Facebook via memes about how some people you call family are backstabbing traitors and other silly shoot like that, but nothing directly has been said about the situation. I feel she'll be confrontational at the next dinner, and I don't know how to approach this. I'm not even sure if I'm right here. My husband supports me, but the first step is figuring out if I even owe her an apology. So am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Calling me a witch for talking about things I know nothing about. The first step is figuring out if I even owe her an apology. So am I the idiot? You don't, because her accusation is wrong. You're a celiac. I'm gluten intolerant. Both of us must, for our own safety, know stuff about our conditions, how to manage it, and what foods are safe or not. So you didn't talk about something you know nothing about. You spoke on a subject about which you are an expert, but were kind enough not to openly correct all the factually incorrect statements she made to her kid. Comment 2. My daughter was diagnosed with celiac disease at 4.5. They did an entire lesson with the class, teaching them about what it was and what it meant for my daughter. All the kids, ages 3 to 5, completely understood that sometimes people aren't able to eat certain things. By age 5, my daughter was able to tell people she couldn't eat certain things because she was allergic. That isn't really true with celiac, but at her age, it was easier to explain. They are doing their child a major disservice, and you are most definitely not the idiot. Now, for the update. 2 days after the dinner from hell, I get a group text from my husband's aunt. She's planning a big Easter dinner at her house. My husband is like, oh, she's so excited and has really gone all out for the meal. I'm just sitting there like, great, can't wait. So that day, I decided to text the cousin's wife to check if she'd be attending. I know, big mistake. She responds with this super passive-aggressive message about how she'd prefer not to see, and I quote, toxic language at the event. Like, are you serious? I feel this knot in my stomach, but I try to shake it off and focus on preparing my dish for the dinner. I make this gluten-free lasagna that I've made 1,000,000 times before, and I know it's going to be a hit. So on the day of the Easter dinner, I arrive early to help set up. My aunt-in-law greets me warmly and compliments me on my dish, so I'm feeling good. Then the cousin's wife shows up with her daughter and immediately avoids me like I'm some kind of plague. Whatever. The dinner table fills up with family, and I try to engage with everyone. You know, the usual chit-chat. As the meal begins, the cousin's wife makes this big deal about how she hopes everyone can focus on eating healthy without any negativity. Like, seriously, I'm trying to stay neutral, but I can feel the tension rising as she keeps making these comments. I even hear her whispering to her husband about how some people just don't get it. At this point, I'm done. So I try to lighten the mood with a joke about my gluten-free dish, and this is when she completely loses it. She stands up and starts calling me out for my, and I quote, selfish behavior around her daughter. The room goes silent, and all eyes turn to me. My husband tries to intervene, but she cuts him off like, no respect for anyone. So I explain my dietary needs firmly, reiterating that it's not about negativity, it's about health. She storms out with her daughter, leaving the dinner abruptly. The tension is so thick, you could cut it with a knife. Several family members look uncomfortable, not sure how to react. My aunt tries to salvage the dinner, but the mood is just ruined at this point. Afterward, my husband comforts me, but is obviously upset about the family drama. Like, I get it. This is your family, but come on. So later that night, I get a series of angry texts from the cousin's wife, accusing me of ruining Easter. Then, her husband posts on social media about how toxic family gatherings can be. My husband sees this and confronts his cousin about the posts, leading to a heated argument. This cousin even admits that he agrees with his wife's views, which just adds to the strain in the family dynamic. The aunt then sends a message to the family group chat, urging everyone to calm down and come together. She even invites me to a family gathering at the cousin's house next month. But honestly, I'm feeling super uncertain about attending. I mean, what if this cousin's wife goes off on me again? So I get this text from my mother-in-law expressing disappointment in how things turned out. I realize the cousin's wife has been talking to other family members behind my back. Like, what a class act. At the next family event, there's this awkward silence whenever I enter the room. It's so uncomfortable. Then the cousin's wife announces she's hosting a healthy living workshop and doesn't invite me. Like, thanks for the reminder that I'm the black sheep of the family. My husband expresses frustration with his family, feeling stuck between them and his wife, which I totally get. I find out that the cousin's wife is actively sharing her side of the story online, gaining sympathy from other relatives. It's like a full-time job for her to make me look bad. My husband suggests we take a break from family events to avoid further conflict. And honestly, that sounds like a good plan. We need some peace away from all this drama. Mini update. My husband had a heart-to-heart with his cousin, leading to a truce of sorts. The family dynamics remain strained, but no further confrontations have occurred since the last gathering. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.